So less than a year ago, I debated this. I brought forward a motion to recognize the genocide here in this Legislative Assembly. And it was, for me, a very personal journey. More important than me, this was a journey for a community that has suffered so much. People who make Ontario their home, Madam Speaker, have fled persecution and oppression. People in Ontario are here today because they saw their family members murdered in front of their eyes. People are here, Madam Speaker, because they witnessed the savagery and sensational violence perpetrated against people simply for being who they are. People who are identified as Sikhs by name, by identity, by appearance, by clothing, by long hair, by their articles of faith were targeted and massacred. And what makes this so chilling, what makes this episode in the history of India so dark, is because it was perpetrated with the planning and organization of elected officials. People sworn to represent the people of a nation, the communities that they were elected in, they used their power and position to commit a barbaric act of genocide against their own citizens. Why we're here today, it needs to be addressed. The resilience of the Sikh community, leaders who are, many of them who are here today, applied pressure on the government, were deeply offended at this government for voting against this motion. And it's their tremendous courage, their hard work, their persistence, their resilience. It's because of them that we're here today, and I honor them. But why is this so important? Why is it so fundamentally important that we acknowledge what occurred to the Sikh community as a genocide? There are a number of reasons. But first and foremost, there is a misconception that is poisonous. The misconception that has been perpetrated or that has been propagated is that this somehow was a result of a Hindu-Sikh conflict. This is misinformation, and this is poisonous, and it is toxic. The suggestion that what occurred was a riot creates and conjures an idea that two communities fought against one another. That could not be further from the truth. In fact, members of the Hindu community, of the Muslim community, put their lives at risk to save their Sikh brothers and sisters, their Sikh neighbors. And until we can acknowledge what occurred was a genocide, we do a disservice to their sacrifice, to their courage. Judith Herman, author of Trauma and Recovery, The Aftermath of Violence from Domestic Abuse to Political Terror, writes, in this process, the survivor seeks assistance not only from those closest to her, but also from the wider community. The response of a community has a powerful influence on the ultimate resolution of the trauma. Restoration of the breach between the traumatized person and the community depends first on the public acknowledgement of the traumatic event, second, upon some form of community action, end quote. That's what we're doing today. To honor the lives that were lost, we must publicly acknowledge that this was a heinous act. To have any healing and reconciliation, first, there must be an acknowledgement that there was a harm perpetrated. That's what this does. It gives a sense of hope to those who suffered, and it rectifies the misunderstanding that this was some sort of communal violence. It was not. It was a state-organized perpetration of violence against a marginalized community. And the thing is, Madam Speaker, this isn't localized. Today, in India, currently, academics, journalists, actors are being charged and imprisoned simply for voicing their dissent or their concerns about the state. People like Amir Khan, a famous Bollywood actor, simply raised a concern about the rising intolerance in India and was charged with sedition. Gurmeher Kaur was a university activist who complained about the activities of fundamentalism, creating a culture of intolerance, and she was threatened with rape. There's an ongoing use of violence against women. Dalit communities are continued to be oppressed. People are facing caste discrimination where they are denied access to public resources because of their caste. All of this continues to go on. Human Rights Watch talks about these ongoing abuses. This is a country that continues to use visa denial as a form of silencing critics. I currently have my visa denied. I can't go back to my own homeland. But there are people here in this assembly that have been silenced because of their criticism of the human rights track record of India, and they are in this assembly and they've been denied the right to go back to their own home. This is important. This is a truly meaningful act towards the reconciliation and justice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Further debate. Further